At Bretton Woods, they came to a beautiful agreement. A beautiful agreement that, well, actually, they didn't tell it to us until the Articles of Agreement of the International Monetary Fund came into being, shortly after that. That we will not allow gold to be used as money. Well, that's strange. That's baffling. Because Allah has provided for us something called a dinar. I don't know if you ever heard about it. And it's in the Qur'an. I don't know if you know about that. Oh, you do, eh? That's too bad for you. وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ مَنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِكِنْتَارٍ يُؤَدِّهِ إِلَيْكَ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ إِنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِدِينَارٍ لَا يُؤَدِّهِ إِلَيْكَ إِلَّا مَا دُمْتَ عَلَيْهِ قَائِمًا ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا لَيْسَ عَلَيْنَا فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ سَبِيلٌ وَيَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. So dinar is in the Qur'an. And the dinar in the Qur'an is not made of paper. It's a gold coin. And dirham is in the Qur'an. The dirham in the Qur'an is not made of paper. It's a silver coin. And yet, the International Monetary Fund, the Articles of Agreement, prohibits the use of this money. How come it did not register on all the scholars of Islam who are experts in Islamic finance? That Allah has given something as money is there in the Qur'an. And they, the Judeo-Christian alliance bonded by Zionism, who gave us the International Monetary Fund, they have prohibited its use as money. Ron Paul, the presidential candidate, the perennial presidential candidate in US elections, has been advocating the cause of the gold coin for some time now. So Ron Paul penned a letter to the US Treasury Department many years ago, asking the Treasury Department for an explanation. Why has the United States of America entered into that agreement with the International Monetary Fund, accepting the prohibition of gold as money? Ron Paul wants to know why. A few years have passed and he's still waiting for an answer. They will not answer him. The Bretton Woods Agreement substituted real money with paper currencies. And chose one currency, the US dollar, to function as the international currency. It caused Charles de Gaulle indigestion. He didn't like it at all, Charles de Gaulle. It's unfair to me. Vive France! Vive la France! Why should Uncle Sam have this unfair advantage? That only the US dollar would be redeemable in gold at the rate of $35 an ounce of gold. And remember, when we, the Judeo-Christian alliance, when we give our word, we don't have to keep our word. Pacta sunt servanda is for the birds, not for us. Pacta sunt servanda, the Latin term for treaties and agreements must be honored. It's at the heart of international relations. Pacta sunt servanda. So the US dollar would be redeemable at $35 an ounce of gold, but when we give our word, we don't have to keep it. And all the rest of the paper currencies in the world would not be redeemable in gold, but rather they would have their value in relation to the US dollar, giving to the US dollar a commanding position in the world of money as the international currency par excellence. So the United States can become, without any question of a doubt, the ruling state in the world. And to compound that, the United States entered into an agreement with OPEC, the oil exporting countries. An agreement which was haram, because it violated the free and the fair market. That none of them will sell oil to anyone other than with payment in US dollars. You can bring as much gold in the world, you cannot buy oil with gold. You cannot buy oil with German marks, you cannot buy it with Australian dollars, you can't buy it with any, forget about the ringgit. The only way you can buy oil is with US dollars. And so an entrenched system that destroys the free and fair market. And so all those currencies out there now are not redeemable in gold. It's like writing a check which cannot be cashed. You can only exchange the check for another check. You can never cash the check. That's haram. So that system is 99% haram. And then Bretton Woods went on to give a second blow to the free and fair market. And that's all that Islam has ever given. A free and a fair market which does not give any advantage to the Muslim over the non-Muslim. So there is no Bhumiputra policy in Islam. No. You plant, you reap. You don't plant, you will not reap. A kafir can come in the market. Someone worshipping the idols can come in the market and have equal status with a Muslim in our market, because it's a free and a fair market. But now the international monetary system, the International Monetary Fund, out of Bretton Woods, declares that the US dollar is redeemable in gold at $35 an ounce, but only governments can redeem. People cannot. Oh, so is it only governments who buy roti canai? What about us? We buy roti canai as well. We also take some time to buy tetarek. So only governments can redeem. So the system is 99.9% haram. Only 0.1% the fig leaf is there for those who have eyes and yet cannot see. And even that 1% disappeared when Charles de Gaulle knocked on the door of Richard Nixon one Sunday morning, perhaps. No, maybe Saturday morning. Hi there. Are you there? Bonjour. So Richard Nixon woke up, opened the door, so Charles de Gaulle. I have $3 billion US dollars. Come on, Uncle Sam, I want the gold. Charles de Gaulle was not expecting what the Americans would do. So they retired, you know, they always do that, retired to Camp David. And then Sunday morning, they announced, we gave our word, but we don't have to keep it. And so they took Bretton Woods and they tore it up. In other words, they refused to redeem the $3 billion in gold. Why? Because if they gave that $3 billion in gold to Charles de Gaulle, there would be a line. By Monday morning, 9 o'clock, there'd be a line outside. And first in the line would be Saudi Arabia. and then there would be Kuwait. And you know, Uncle Sam, we won the gold. But they had printed more paper than they had gold. If I did that, they'd throw me in Guantanamo. And so the monetary system, which dropped out, no, not from the sky, sorry, from the Anglo-American, the Judeo-Christian alliance, Zionist Judeo-Christian alliance, was bogus, was fraudulent, was haram. This was September 1971 when the 0.1% disappeared. And since September 1971, it is now, you can say it once you know the subject. You can take a piece of paper and print a picture on it and put a number on it and say abracadabra, and you can assign to that piece of paper an entirely fictitious value. Oh? So one piece of paper would have the value of roti canai, and another piece of paper would have the value of a BMW. And if you have a printing press and you have enough paper and ink, you could buy all the oil of Saudi Arabia. And when they print their paper, on the other hand, when they print their paper and they put a whole suitcase filled of their paper, Bangladeshi taka, and you go to downtown, midtown Manhattan, you can't even buy a cup of coffee with it. You can't even buy a cup of coffee with it. And yet we accepted it, even though Allah prohibited us. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ لَا تَتَّخِذُوا الْيَهُودَ وَالنَّصَارَ أَوْلِيَاءَ. In other words, the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam displayed the intellectual acumen of donkeys. This is harsh language, but I believe it's too late now. Even the harsh language is too late, because the job is already done. They don't need it anymore. That international monetary system is collapsing. It's collapsing. I anticipate it would not be long from now before the United States government demonetizes the US dollar. When last I heard about the US dollar, it was in some hospital. Terminally ill. Terminally ill. And they know it cannot recover. Yeah. So they're going to demonetize the US dollar. But what do they have to replace it with? In fact, the replacement is already here. I used to be saying 15 years ago, and Mustafa would bear witness to this, that the US dollar is going to collapse. And when it collapses, you're going to bring down the whole world of paper money with it. And then a new monetary system will emerge. Of course, I was wrong. A new monetary system will emerge, which will be money that you can't see, money that you can't touch. Who but those who have the intellectual acumen of donkeys will accept money you can't see and money you can't touch? Huh? But they will throw dust in your eyes and they'll say to you, welcome to the cashless world. Welcome to the world of electronic money. Welcome to the world of digital money.